Welcome to episode 110 of How About the Huskies. As always, I'm your host, Connor, joined by Matt and Andrew. And the Huskies responded in a way they only know how, like a champion. After that tough loss against Villanova, they came into Georgetown and beat the Hoyas 68 to 60, a game that wasn't nearly as close as the final score depicted. Speaking of guys who only know how to play like a champion, Alex Karaban, after missing those two free throws, bounced back in a huge way, 19, 6, and 4, played all 40 minutes, left it all out there. I know you guys have a lot to say about this one, so I'll let you guys jump right in.
Yeah, you would have had to have been crazy if you didn't see the Huskies winning that game. Not because they were playing a not great opponent, but because I feel like they have to win that game. There's no real world where they can lose that game. And like Connor just said, Caravan played like a champion in general, like he always does. But there are a lot of factors in that went into that win that we'll discuss later.
Yeah, it was a great win. I remember someone commented under our previous video saying that we needed this one as bad as we needed the Baylor one. I don't know. I don't know. Honestly, now that I think about it, yeah, that's a good take. But I mean, what else did we expect? We had to come away with the win in this one, and we did against a Georgetown team that's on the way up. Maybe not where we are yet, but they're definitely a team to look for in coming months, in the coming years. But like Connor said, you come out and you play like champions, and that's what we did. Most of the game towards the end, things got a little dicey, but overall, not much to complain about.
Yeah, going 0-2 in like the second week of January, whatever that was, that's not the end of the world. Doesn't end your season, but you really don't want to do it, like for standings wise and stuff like that. So for them to pick that up, that was huge. And what Matt just said, it did get dicey at the end. So I kind of want to work our way backwards and kind of talk more about the negatives first. The Huskies only scored 4 points in the last 8 minutes and had a bunch of shot clock violations and just poor field goal attempts late in the clock, a lot of them by Hassan Diarra, and I don't fault him for that. That's not his choice to take all those bad shots. It's just he had the ball in his hands, but that's not really something you've seen out of the Huskies over the past couple of years. I just want to know what you guys were thinking during that. It was like we led by as many as I think 21 or 23. The game only ended with an 8 point win.
It was pretty weird, but part of me feels like that was a little bit of the game plan towards the end. Kind of drain that clock out. Don't run up the score, maybe was the thinking. I'm not too sure, but that did look a little calculated. It looked like that was the plan. I haven't seen our guys go out there and do anything like that in the past few years. So it's hard to believe anything else that was just these guys going rogue and taking their shots on their own. But I mean, I'm just rolling with that was the game plan, and then we won. So
Yeah, I saw a lot of people on Twitter that were like, this would have been a great win if it wasn't for the last 8 minutes. I mean, were the 8 minutes there good? No, but like I feel like it's kind of like what Matt said, where it was not like warranted, I want to say, but you don't want to make stupid mistakes. And we didn't really make any mistakes. They just milked the clock, used the shot clock. So I'm not really mad. I don't think it's a good thing or a bad thing. I just think it kind of happened and we won the game. So who cares?
And you could afford to do that, and this isn't me justifying it, but if you go on a 17-2 run to start the second half to push a 4 point game to quick math, that'd be a 19 point lead in the blink of an eye. You can kind of afford to take your foot off the gas. Obviously, after coming off a loss, you'd like to maybe try to keep your foot on the gas and maybe ramp up the score if that's what it takes to get the confidence up there. But I feel like a road to win against the Georgetown team, like you said, Matt, is up and coming. They're going to be competing for an NCAA tournament spot this season, which I don't think a lot of people thought. Even after a loss like this and a tough loss they had against Marquette, they still have a lot of Big East season left, and they're going to be right up near the top when it's all said and done. But looking at our box score, I want to really look at the bench to start because early on in the game, it was kind of neck and neck. Georgetown had an early lead, but then guys like Jaden Ross and Aiden Mahaney stepped up and helped the Huskies take the lead for the first time, and I believe ultimately for good. I don't think they lost it once they took it. What was your guys' thoughts of the bench play? Terrace didn't do much scoring, but he did get 2 points on that massive dunk. It had some nice boards. Even Ahmad Noel in his 9 minutes had a couple of nice drives to the basket.
that was my matchup to watch coming into this game. Sort of the Jaden Ross bench scene there. And I think we won that if you don't count Curtis Williams 15 points off the bench, which you have to. He had a great game there. Did a fantastic job. Only seven other bench points away from that, and that's how many Ross had in general. So He kind of did match that performance that we were looking for. The other guys stood out too, like you mentioned, Mahaney. Even Ahmad Noel coming in and getting some buckets. It's all great to see. And if we continue with this bench play moving forward, it's hard to see many of these Big East teams beating us down the road.
Yeah, I really liked what I saw out of Noel because, like, everybody knows he hasn't played a ton, and I feel like there are a lot of question marks around that. But he looked fantastic. Did a little too much dribbling and got his pocket pick, but that'll get fixed. But he looked really good. That mid range he hit, and then he had a nice defensive play with his head turned, and then a great move to take the wide open lane for a layup. So I really liked what I saw out of him, and he's going to be a big piece when it comes to winning games down the stretch.
Yeah, he did have a silly turnover, like you said, right when he checked in, but he's gonna have to take advantage of the minutes he gets over the next, hopefully no longer than 2-ish weeks that Liam McNeely's out, because who knows if he's really gonna play much at all after that. He can earn himself minutes if he plays like that. Maybe he'll get at least a little bit of run once Liam's healthy, but I feel like 9 minutes is around where we'll see Noel for the next few weeks. I feel like Diarra only played 24, I want to say. 23. That's got to be one of his lowest he's had since he entered the starting lineup. He was in some foul trouble. Part of it, though, was Noel playing so well. I feel like having a guy like that in your back pocket that you can pull out for a handful of minutes is really going to be beneficial. It gives the offense, excuse me, it gives the defense a different look for the other team because he plays differently than DR. They're both smaller point guards, but you can't really guard them the same way. Even Aiden Mahaney, when he was in there at point guard, he held his own. He had a couple nice drives, I think. He had a big three at the top of the key. Overall, it's a very solid game from the bench. Solo ball, next up, we'll talk about him. He had I guess, not typical 15 points. He hit three threes. DR, like I said, 6 points. Samson Johnson, 9 points. But Jalen Stewart, after a great game against Villanova, puts up a goose egg. I've been talking about his consistency all season. I feel like the number is now like 6 games with two or less and like four in double figures. What's your guys' whole assessment on him? Because I feel like this is a trend that's becoming more common, probably more than it should.
On the offensive end, there really was nothing. It was basically a cardio game. He only had two assists in a board. Next to that goose egg. But on the defensive end, I thought he did a pretty good job. What he didn't do offensively, he definitely made up for it defensively. That front court at Georgetown was having a hard time all night. Even a guy like Sorber, felt like he was a bigger part of the game. But you check the box score, he only had 9 points on 33% shooting from the field. So did a good job holding him down. A guy that I was kind of watching, Drew Fielder, only took 2 shots, made one of them, a three-pointer. So if you're looking at the box score, you might think, hey, like, what's going on? This guy had a pretty rough game. But once you look a little bit deeper and realize that he held Sorber to 9 points in 34 minutes, you start to understand his value.
And that's exactly right. That's why it goes back to my point about not everything in basketball is on the stat sheet. And I feel like most people that didn't watch a game like this would be like, why did a guy that went 0 for 4 play 24 minutes? He should just be out of the game at that point. And that's not necessarily true because, like Matt just said, on the defensive end, he looked fantastic. I'll tell you right now, if they just wanted him for his offense, he wouldn't have played 24 minutes. He probably would have played close to 10 or 8. So he played fantastic on defense, like you said, held sober, but just he did the little things right. This isn't a game where we need him to score 15 points and get it going like we kind of did against Villanova. We just need him out there for his defense. So there's pros and cons to a game like this, but in my opinion, this one was a pro.
And Stewart, I agree, his defense was great. The team as a whole, the defense, I want to know if we didn't take our foot off the gas. I mean, Georgetown, Curtis Williams hit like I think all of his threes late when they were coming back to kind of cut the lead down. We were on pace to allow like less than 50 points with the way they were scoring in the second half. I wonder what that would have done for all the defensive metrics. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day, but it would have been nice if we still held the Big East team to 60 points, which is something I don't think we've done yet this season, or they've been close. But this is definitely, I feel like, the best overall defensive performance of the Big East season for the Huskies.
And you mentioned them not taking their foot off the gas. I'm really curious if they did bring in some of the end of the bench guys to get some minutes in, if this would have even happened. Obviously, Diarra, the 2 of 8, majority of those misses coming towards the end. If you brought in guys like Ahmad Noel at the 1, and then gave someone like Isaiah Abraham minutes, and then brought in Youssef, to play the 5, would those guys hustle more than our 5 did to end the game? I feel like That's not a bad bet, and I feel like Hurley, maybe was saying that in the locker room afterwards that, they have guys on the bench who are willing to come out and play harder than they did to close the game. Because part of me, I'm just saying it's the game plan. I don't think Hurley thought that was acceptable at all. There's no world where he's like, that's okay, guys. He was definitely kind of getting into him at the end of the game, and I'm curious to see, how we close out games going forward.
Yeah, Hurley's a defensive-minded coach, so I feel like he definitely wasn't happy. You'd have to be happy though with having your opponent shoot under 40% overall. The Hoya shot 19 to 49. I mean, Diarra, Noel, Mahaney, whichever point guard was on, Malik Mack held him to 3 of 12, shooting 1 of 5 from three. Micah Peavy, who was guarded by mostly Ross, and I think Stewart when he was on him. He only went 5 of 12, which is actually a solid. I say only, like that's almost 50%. But he went 0 of 1 from three. He was really the only outside of Curtis Williams, the only guy really putting up points. Jaden Epps did play in this game. He was questionable coming in and he came off the bench, only 14 minutes, still limited. Hit a three in the corner. Who else? The big men really didn't do much. Sorber, you mentioned only 9 points, but he got a bunch of them early. He had two quick baskets on Sampson, and then Hurley pulled Sampson out of the game for Terrace Reed, and then he only had one more field goal the rest of the game. So I feel like the game plan has to have been limiting Thomas Sorber inside and letting them beat you from deep, which they did with Curtis Williams and all the other guys. But overall, a solid win. That's gonna go a lot longer or a lot further on Selection Sunday than you guys may think. You guys got anything else here about this Georgetown game? I know we went a little fast, but I feel like kind of deserves. There wasn't a lot of points scored overall. Just a great defensive effort, and guys like Caravan and Ball stepped up.
If you had Liam McNeely in this game, this one would have been even more of a blowout. The way the game was played. Um, you met like the 3 pointers. We only had two starters hit any, Caravan and Solo. If you throw McNeely into this lineup over Stewart and he goes out there and he drains 3 or 4 threes, sure, Georgetown might have had more points, but we're pushing 80 there. And I mean, you can't begin to overstate how valuable he is to the team. I think that will become more and more apparent once he comes back, but in a game like this, it would have been blowout city if he was there.
And I feel like this win could be the start of a little streak. I'm not saying another 8 game winning streak, but you look at who we have up next on the schedule. Creighton on Saturday. We're not previewing that one in this episode. That'll be the next one. But that's the game I feel like at Gamble Pavilion the Huskies should pull out. Creighton's not what they have been over the past couple of years. They're still a very solid program that has NCAA tournament aspirations, but they're not as deep. They lost Pop Isaacs as you all. We'll talk about that in the next episode though. Then you have shockingly 0-6 Butler. Butler's yet to win a game in Big East play. You have them at home at the XL Center. Then a game at Xavier. That's going to be pretty tough, especially if McNeely's not back. But then you have DePaul, and then the February of hell, if you will, starts with Marquette, St. John's, Creighton on the road, Seton Hall on the road, Nova, St. John's, Georgetown. None of those are going to be easy games. But I feel like even with McNeely out, you have to take advantage of these next 3 or 4 games. Maybe take out the Xavier one because that's going to be tough. You can't drop easy games in this conference because you're going to fall from the top quickly with teams like Marquette and St. John's up there. All right. So I think now we're officially done with the Georgetown portion of this episode. We are going to do something else because I don't want it to be too short. And I said in the last episode at the end, we're going to do something fun. So that's exactly what we're going to be doing. These guys don't know what's coming. I was working on this game all afternoon. Let me pull it up here. All right, can you guys see that? You can.
Yeah, this is gonna
Yeah,
be
yeah.
good. Oh
So
boy.
as you could see, the game is called Guess the Year. You're
Oh
gonna
boy.
guess what year these UConn teams are based on the scoring
Oh
points per
boy.
game from the starting five. Players chosen are the five who made the most starts in during the season, and this is the national championship era, going back to the RIP year to the current day. So I'm hoping this just works. Oh, it might not. Hold on.
I'm gonna stay unmuted for this, Andrew.
Yeah, you guys can. All right, so starting us
Yeah.
out.
Are we figuring this out together or are we competing?
You can do it together.
Yeah,
See
we
how
can do
Oh
long
it
it
together.
takes.
shoot. This
Yeah,
is
this is
how
how
we're
we're
doing
doing
it?
it.
I
Yeah.
thought it was like you give us 5 names. Oh Jesus.
Oh no, this is
Goodness
so
gracious.
Wow. Oh wow.
Okay.
I'll read it out for the audio only people. We have the point guard. They're listed point guard to center going
Holy
left to right.
cow.
The point guard is a graduate that averages 8.9. The shooting guard is a sophomore that averages 13.6. The forward is a freshman that averages 13.6. The junior or the four power forward, I'm jumbling here. The power forward is a redshirt junior that
Oh
averages
boy.
16.1, and the center is a senior that averages 7.5. You guys can think out loud here too, if you want.
So I had an initial thought, but I don't think it's right because I really thought that this was last year's because the graduate, the freshman at the three, and who, nope, never mind. Never mind. Don't listen to what I
Part of me
say.
feels like it
Never
could just be
mind.
this year. Like you started us easy with this year. I don't. Is Haas averaging 8.9 points a game? Maybe, and then we would have Sampson at the center averaging seven.
Oh my
Yeah,
God. It is this year. Yeah.
yeah,
You're
it's got to be this year.
Yep. Haas, Ball,
It
Liam,
is it
Yeah,
Fairman,
is this year.
Sampson. Yeah. Yep.
I
All
wanted to
right.
start you guys out a little easier,
yeah.
but yeah, it is this year. DR, Ball, McNeely,
Oh
Caravan, and
boy.
Sampson.
Okay.
Moving on. We
All
got
right.
the point guard is a redshirt junior averaging 8.5. The shooting guard, if you will, is averaging 13 as a freshman. The third guard in there, 16.3 as a senior. The power forward, 5.8 points per game as a redshirt freshman.
Ooh,
And you got the big man, the five, 7.8 points per game as a junior.
I'm just trying to think of freshmen that have started for us
me
immediately.
too.
Um, this
This
is
one might trip you up if you think that way.
The only
okay.
one where this might work that comes to my mind is book night. But I'm trying to think.
As
No, Vital wasn't a red shirt. No, that doesn't work.
a redshirt freshman,
Starting at the four.
redshirt that could that be AK? But he averaged more than that his freshman year.
Had to have. Jeez.
He averaged more than that. A
Dang it.
freshman, two freshmen, and a senior guard.
Oh man.
That that could be Vital with
I feel like
Gilbert.
this one isn't as tricky as you guys making it out to be, but I want to see where your head goes.
Is this forward not Whaley? No, he couldn't have started back when he was a freshman.
Oh, he didn't. He didn't really get played till he was a
No,
junior.
he didn't.
So
Yeah.
that could be him at the five, but this could be
Who in the heck is this freshman?
could that be Tyrese? No,
Martin? No, he
at the
was
guard.
junior, senior when he was here.
Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right.
I'll say you guys are thinking in the right era.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Carlton
Hmm.
at the center.
The,
Did Ty
the
play?
the redshirt freshman is killing me here.
Could that be Ty? Ty and Carlton? And then who the heck is that guard? That guard is killing me. Started a
Which guard?
freshman, he averaged 13 points a game.
Remember the rules. These are the five players who made the most starts that season.
Okay, so there could have been injuries. I think that's kind of what he's hinting at.
Could be what I'm hinting at. Yes.
16 point per game senior. You have anything, Andrew? You got anything?
No, I'm trying to
Like,
figure out who got hurt now. Redshirt junior.
I mean, why don't we just think back in our line of point guards?
That would be a good way to maybe
It
figure it
has to
out.
be a Vital team. Vital or Jalen Adams, but
That could
that's
have been Adams at 16 and a half. That makes sense. That senior being Adams,
yeah.
but that's a three. I don't know. Part of me
I
thinks
don't
it could
know.
be Danny Hamilton. And
Oh,
then
I'm lost. These two freshmen are killing me. I don't know.
For those that are listening audio only, I'll relist the positions. We have 8.5 points per game from a redshirt junior point guard. The two guard, the second guard, not really a two guard, kind of 13 points per game as a freshman. The third guard, 16.3 points per game as a senior. Then in the front court, a redshirt freshman averaging 5.8 and a junior that averaged 7.8.
I think that junior has to be Josh Carlton. I think it's 100% Josh Carlton.
So do
And
you want?
so it has to be from like 2015 to 2019.
Yep, somewhere in there. I'm trying to think.
As a junior, it was later. What was it, 2018 or
Right.
2017?
1920 was Book Knight's freshman year.
Was Josh there yet? Was Josh there? I don't think he was.
Yeah,
He
he was
was?
there. Yeah, because he
So
was a
maybe the
starter
year
for that 1920 team.
the year right before Book Night. Hurley's first year or
Yeah,
second.
18. Go 18-19. I
All
think
right.
that's what I bet here.
Yeah, we're just
Is
gonna
that
roll
your
it.
guys' guess?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I did not put the correct answer, but that is not correct. This is 1920.
Damn.
Oh,
Gilbert, Bouknight, Vital,
Oh,
Cook,
I knew it.
and Carlton.
Oh,
Polly was
Gilbert
the
is the
starter.
point guard. Yep.
Polly started in the beginning of
okay.
the year, but Bouknight
See,
came in
I thought
and
that was a
ended up
Cook.
starting
I thought
more.
the redshirt freshman was a Cook. Damn it. All right, we were close, Matt.
So you guys
We
are
were right
one
there.
for two. Moving on.
It's only getting harder. I know it.
We got a senior point
Oh
guard
boy.
averaging 10.1, a sophomore guard averaging
Oh, this
16.2,
I already know who this
a
is before
junior
I finish it.
guard averaging 6.7, a redshirt freshman averaging 9.3 as a forward, and another forward averaging 17.2 as a junior.
Is that
Unless
Dahmer?
I got too cocky, I was instantly thinking Newton, Hawkins, Jackson, Caravan, Sonogo, and I feel like that
Yeah.
has to be right. But that 16 number seems really high for Hawkins. But then again, that was his draft. So give me that. I'm pretty. I mean, does that not seem right?
I would assume that the center was Sonogo averaging 17. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, and
But
redshirt freshman's care. This has to be the 22-23.
It is the
yes.
Yeah.
22-23. Hawkins is not
Wow.
there.
See you,
That's
Jordan.
unfortunate. He should be there, but oh well. So you guys are two for three. That I feel like that one was low key easier than the this year's.
16.2. That's crazy. I didn't realize how much he averaged. That's pretty crazy. Okay.
Next one, we got a pretty
Okay.
balanced squad. 12.3 points per game as a graduate at point guard. Shooting guard, 12.8 points per game as a redshirt junior. A guard, I didn't know how to classify this guy. Basically a wing, averaging 12.5 points per game as a sophomore. Another graduate at the four, averaging 12.3, and a center averaging 6.5 as a junior.
This is a good team.
A lot of balanced scoring.
And old
Usually
heads.
key to success.
A lot of old guys on this team. That center to me is just screaming Brima.
That's kind of what I thought too instantly.
But I mean, it wouldn't really make much sense because Baz played four. He left. Ooh, is that 12.8 Purvis?
Ooh.
He was the transfer. He couldn't play
Yeah.
redshirted. That's
That
got to be
okay.
Purvis.
Now we
Purvis,
have
Brima,
So who's the grad?
the grad point guard. Who was our point guard right before Gilbert and Vital?
Oh, jeez.
It would have to be them at that point.
Yeah. That might yeah.
A
No,
grad
they weren't
four,
graduate then.
a grad four, and a grad guard.
Hmm. I think the redshirt junior is definitely Purvis because I don't remember really having a starter who wasn't that. But these two grads are really throwing me off.
This isn't a championship team.
No.
I will confirm this team did not
This is
cut down
not.
the nets.
Yeah. I was thinking, I was like, no.
Probably didn't come very close, to be honest. It's got to be Brima at the five, Purvis at the two. Did Boatwright get to a grad year?
My initial thought is 15-16 because Hmm.
Nah, I think this is 14-15, right after the Natty.
No, because Brima was a freshman on that Natty team, right? And he would be a junior. I think this is 15-16. I mean, you
Do you
can you
do
can
you agree,
think what you
Matt?
want, but I think this is 15-16.
It's either 14-15 or 15-16, but I'll give it to Andrew because I'm gonna
It
take his
is
Brima.
it is fifteen
Let's
sixteen.
Yeah,
yeah,
We got
Sean
friend of
Miller.
the pod, Sterling Gibbs, friend of the pod,
yep.
Rodney Purvis, maybe some future friends of the pod, and Daniel Hamilton, Sean Miller, and you guys nailed right off the bat Amita
Yeah,
Brima.
Brima.
Yeah, a couple of
Yeah,
grad transfers. Sean Miller, I
because
believe,
I
was from
was thinking,
Cornell, and obviously Seton Hall for Gibbs.
and I was thinking, I was like, I was trying to put the pieces together as quickly as I could because once he said the Purvis redshirt junior, I remember his senior year being 16-17. And that this team was not that good in 16-17. So I was thinking, I was like, okay, we'll go the year before. And then when you said 14-15, I kind of just realized I was like, no, because Brimo was a freshman when we
He
won the
was a
national
freshman.
championship. So that's what locked it in for me.
I
But yeah,
forgot. I forgot
let's
Gibbs was a
go.
grad. I forgot
These
Gibbs was a grad
guys,
student.
these guys won a tournament game, so you got to give them
Yeah.
a little props. They got
Yeah.
Jalen Adams on the bench, a couple other notable bench pieces as well. Really an underrated squad. We got one more of these. You guys are 3 for 4. This one I feel like might be the hardest yet, though.
Okay.
14.7 points per game, senior guard. 13.2 points per game, junior guard. 8.5 points per game as a sophomore forward. 13.6 points per game as a senior forward. And then you got a junior center averaging 13.6.
So what this almost instantly tells me is that this has to be like a mid 2000s or 90s team because there's no red shirts. So
Nope.
I feel like that's got to be one of those teams.
I was looking at.
Oh, let's figure it
I
out.
was thinking 2008-ish, around there,
Where's
because that
Jerome
senior
Dyson?
point guard and junior center are kind of giving me AJ Price and Hashim Thabit vibes
Ooh,
a little bit. Um, maybe our good friend Jerome Dyson there.
at that guard?
I don't think he ever averaged 13 points though.
I don't know.
Or it could be no, it wouldn't be that. Um, this goes all the way back to 95 too.
Yep.
So that could be like, ooh, why would he go all the way back to 95 in the instructions if he wasn't going to go
The instructions did go back to 98, 99.
98?
But that was the RIP title year.
Yeah.
I just wanted to have the era, basically all of UConn's greatness outside of Ray Allen and maybe a couple others.
Okay. They're just all kind of the same player minus that forward.
No, this is Price Dyson
The beat,
the beat.
what's his name? Oriaki at the 4. And then
Yeah.
what's his name at the 3? I'm blanking on his name, but
Stanley.
it's not Stan.
It's not.
It's
No.
not Stanley. He wore number 4. I can't.
You guys,
But this,
I'm looking for a year.
yeah, I'm thinking this is like 2008, 2009.
Yeah, I was gonna lean with 8-9.
That would be my guess. 2008,
That's your guys' guess, 8-9.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go 8,
You
9.
guys got it a lot faster than I thought you would.
It
That is
was
2008,
Stanley.
Boom.
2009.
It was
It
AJ
Stanley.
was
Price,
Stanley.
Jerome Dyson. That was the year he got injured, but I had to include him. Another friend of the pod had to include him in there. I believe he was still higher on starts as well. Stanley Robinson, may he rest in peace. Jeff Adrian was the guy we're thinking of. I think the war number 4. And then Hashim to beat the center inside, blocking all those shots, still also putting up nearly 14 a game. So you guys went 4 for 5. That's all I got. Only 5 of them. I'll
You
stop
know
the
who was on the
share.
bench for that team too?
Kemba Walker.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I hope you guys as in you two and the viewers enjoyed that. If you guys did, let
Yeah,
us
that
know
was
in the
good.
comments if you
We
like that
did
because
good, Matt.
there's I only did 5 out of like 25 years. There's a lot further back we can go, a lot of more different team combinations. So if you guys like seeing that, let us know, and I'll be sure to whip some more up and we'll have some more fun. But yeah, that'll do it here for this Georgetown recap and kind of fun trivia. We'll definitely do a Creighton preview later this week, so you'll hear from us then. And after that, who knows? We'll stay consistent as always. But yeah, thank you guys for watching or listening, and stay tuned.